One bloke you would really like is Joe Daniher playing at your side, the Essendon team. Sam McClure is with us with news on Joe Daniher. Welcome, Sam.
Good evening, Eddie. Thank you very much. Yeah, their injured star is being courted by another team. We know Sydney have shown interest in the last 12 months. Well, Eddie, you can add Brisbane to the mix now, who are interested in a trade for Joe Daniher, potentially even as a restricted free agent at the end of this season. Now, the caveat on this is that they want to see him play. Essendon haven't offered him a contract extension. They're in the same boat. They also want to see him play. His latest setback isn't actually his troublesome groins. He had a calf about 3 weeks ago. Essendon say tonight that he's likely to play in a scratch match in the next fortnight, which is obviously going to be very, very significant for Joe Daniher, and if he could get back to start playing some football. Now, in the space of probably 18 months, maybe 2 years, Brisbane have gone from cellar dwellers to really a destination club.
And they were friendless, weren't they?
That's right.
No one wanted to go there.
Yeah, and a lot of the players say, Eddie, that it's the David Noble effect. He leaves the Adelaide Crows, he goes to the Brisbane Lions. Now, he basically brought Charlie Cameron with him, as you can see this list here. They get Luke Hodge out of retirement. Lachie Hunter was a South Australian playing in Western Australia who went over to Queensland and was lured there out of nowhere under contract. And Grant Birchall as well, who has had his injury fortunes turned around like they would want with Joe Daniher. Now, the head of medical at Brisbane was Caro, in fact, the head of medical at the Essendon Football Club in 2017. That's the same year that Joe was All-Australian and won the best and fairest. So there is a link there, Lloydie, with Joe and the Brisbane Lions.
I can understand it from Brisbane's perspective because I think it's what's going to hurt them in winning the premiership this year. I think Hipwood is a good player, but I don't think he's a number one forward. McStay's not a number one forward. So Daniher would be unbelievable there. But Essendon, and the same thing. They don't have a key forward either, but I think the time's come, Ross, hasn't it, to let Joe go and play somewhere else.
It's not working for either party, but buyer beware, I think.
It's not working for Joe. He can't play.
Either party. It's not working for Joe, not working for Essendon. But I think big question mark on durability. Never been harder to be a key forward in the AFL. They get crunched from every angle. That's why the respect for Hawkins and Kennedy and those guys. And you've got to question, has he got the makeup to become what we all see, the tools, the physical tools, but we know it's more than that. The application and the mental toughness, the jury's out.
Caro, there's more talk about
another big name player who's also been linked to the Brisbane Lions, although they deny it, is Lachie Hunter, who does seem to be in some form. There he is at training today, and I suspect he will play senior footy this week. Wanted to play last week, but was sent down to the twos, or I think there was a disagreement over whether he had a calf injury or not. He wanted to play. He said, all right, well, if you're not going to play me in the seniors, I'll play in the twos. Brisbane denied that they have interest in Lachie Hunter. I'm not quite sure whether that's right or not. They feel if he was to leave the Bulldogs, it would be to a Victorian club, Sam.
So you think Lachie Hunter is unhappy, Karen?
Well,
he's vice-captain.
He's got a long... Well, is he vice-captain?
Sorry, he was vice-captain.
He's had a really tough year, as we know, for a variety of reasons. And obviously it started off with that pre-Easter incident that has cost him a lot of money and cost him a long time and cost him the vice-captaincy. I'm just hearing that there might not be all well between the Western Bulldogs and Lachie Hunter at the moment.
Sorry, Sam, last one. Do you know, does Joe Daniher want to play for the Brisbane Lions?
I'm not sure. That's a question you'd have to put towards Joe. But, I mean, this is a man that asked to leave the club last year. The trade was denied. It was going to be 2 first-round picks, let's not forget, Eddie. It's not going to be anything like that, whether it's through compensation of restricted free agency or whether they match an offer from Brisbane or Sydney and force a trade. They're not going to get anything like that for Joe Daniher.
Ross, I reckon this is the year where anyone who's sort of having a fallout with their club for the first time should just take a deep breath and just calm down a bit, because this is a year where everyone's fractures. There's things going around the place, and just, you don't want to be falling out of love with long-term partners just because you've had a spat.
Well, how are clubs doing their planning on their list management? Surrey cap reduction?
Yeah, no one knows.
I don't even know what that is, what the revenue is going to be in the AFL, what the list size. I'm surprised it could be this far down the track. I know they've got a plan, but how are they going to execute this?
Well, another club that's got an issue, and you've written about this back in July, Sam, is the GWS Giants and their salary cap squeeze. You mentioned Zach Williams, who now we hear has put off contract talks until the end of the year. Jake Nile wrote about it in The Age today. What can you tell us about that situation?
I don't think a whole lot has changed, Caro, since I wrote that article a few weeks ago. The GWS Giants are more over the salary cap than any other club in the competition. So it's not really the amount of money that Zach Williams might want for his next contract. They don't have any money to pay him. So if Zach Williams stays, they're going to have to lose a number of other players and probably one of their big star players to get under the salary cap, Ross.
We're saying there's been an offer on the table since when?
The end of last year is when the Giants
History tells us those that delay to the end of the year
leave.
Almost always leave.
So who could you suggest?
I really rate him. I think everyone sees him as a half-back. He may see himself as a midfielder. He was a junior All-Australian. GWS were caught short in the final or a game. They threw him in. He was best on the ground. Maybe a club's earmarked him to be a midfielder.
So which club?
I'm North,
I think Essendon.
Yeah,
I think Essendon haven't got the A-grade midfield they need. You know, you get Heppel back, Shields back, you got McClure in there, throw him in. I think, and you could rotate him off a half.
So do you get Daniher out for the salary cap there, Lordy?
Yeah, I think it'd be a great fit. I think if Daniher still hasn't signed, I think Essendon would give him something. But if Joe Hart still isn't in it, do not have him any longer. Move him on, get him, because you don't want a player that doesn't want to be at your footy club.